What is going on, guys? We are back playing some more Surviving with Create 0.3, and today we are going to be setting up a lava generator. Now, there's a lot of different ways to get lava when it comes to Create. Some that are pretty simple, some that are really cool looking. Usually those aren't the same thing, unfortunately, but the first one that probably comes to mind is simply going in the nether and using some of the fluid pumps and fluid pipes we have available to bring back the massive surplus of lava that's in there. There's plenty in there for everyone to use. There's more than enough to kill me every single time I set foot in there, which is why we almost never do it on camera. But that solution is not one that I'm a fan of because it requires you to do a little bit of a weird setup since we do not have wireless fluid transportation. So you got to bucket it in the nether, throw it through a portal, and then extract it from the bucket outside the portal and then send the bucket back through the portal to do the process again. And that's really annoying if you want to store it in a tank and have a massive surplus of it in the overworld. So then you come to the overworld solutions that do not involve you going to the nether. And the first one is kind of funny, one that probably most people wouldn't even consider doing, and that's going to be setting up 10,000 source blocks in one area, a rectangle, a square, whatever weird shape you want it to be, but they all need to be near each other, and that would then be treated by Create as an infinite source. It doesn't matter that it's lava. Obviously, that's usually a little bit tricky to get an infinite source of, but regardless, Create will treat it as an infinite source, and you can just pump to your heart's delight from that. Unfortunately, though, that requires a massive time investment, and also, that's 10,000 buckets of lava, so if you don't have infinite lava to start, you're going to have a lot of trouble getting all of those. So we're definitely not going to do that. That would be horrible content. I'm sure some of you will take this as a challenge to go and do that. More power to you. If you can, let me know. That is very impressive, and you have way more mental fortitude than I do. The one we're going to go with today, though, is the third option. The cool looking option that we can set up completely in the overworld, which, as you guys know, is my bread and butter. I want everything to be in our base or right outside it. I don't want to have to travel somewhere to get my lava fix. I want it right here. I want to watch it. I want to enjoy it. And then when we do a tour at the end of the series, I want to have it right in my face so I can show it off to everyone and say, look at this cool thing we made. Regardless, though, this setup is basically going to convert cobblestone or any kind of stone into lava through a very simple recipe, but because the stone is a renewable resource, and the one renewable resource in the setup that the resource we can't get renewed is netherrack, you can basically think of it as a setup that converts netherrack into lava. So I actually don't mind this because you do have to input some netherrack, but I always end up with a surplus in all my chests, as you guys know, and you can probably tell from here, I am a massive hoarder of items, right? We started out with 3 chests here and 1 for the setup items, then we got another one, and then we got another one, and they're basically all full. So every time I just don't throw out useless items, I just accrue more chests, because why not? There's infinite space in this world, so let's just keep everything. And a lot of that ends up being netherrack from when I'm in the nether, and it basically has no purpose for me. So I don't mind finding a useful way to get rid of this, I guess you could say, just because I need to find some way to expend it. So what better way to burn through some of this, quite literally I should say, than converting it into lava, which then I don't really know what we're going to use that for, but we'll find something, I guess. So without further ado, though, I've been rambling for quite some time. You guys did say in other episodes that you wanted to have a little bit more talking during the episodes and not have it be so robotic tutorial-esque. I know other people probably won't enjoy that, but can't please everyone. So we should probably jump into the crafting for today's episode, though, or at least the requirements, I should say, because as you can see right here, there are quite a few, as with pretty much every episode. Now, I will say that this episode is way more chill than the last one. If you saw the last episode on the automated quarry, you would know that that thing was technical as heck, okay? And nobody likes that. Well, no, some people like that, but usually people want to watch an episode where their brain doesn't feel like it's catching on fire, and so that will be this episode. We can kick our feet up, make a cool build. It's very simple to understand and get going. It's using some basic concepts, and that's it. There is no redstone. There are no redstone, 1 tick delay between things to get it to work properly and glitch out so it does this and not that. That was horrible. But this one will just look cool and get us a ton of lava. So here's everything we need right in this chest. All this stuff on the side here is going to be for setting filters and setting up the farm and all that stuff. All this stuff, or all the stuff on the right here, I think I said left, it's been a long day, is going to be for setting up the filters and the farms. Everything on the left here is for the actual setup itself. So we're going to need 1 deployer, 7 vertical gearboxes. Really, it's 5 vertical and 2 regular, but I needed the space in my inventory, so we converted them all to vertical for now. A mechanical mixer, a blaze burner, a mechanical drill, 5 hoppers, 2 crushing wheels, a bucket of lava, a bucket of water. Obviously, we got 4 more over here. A large cog wheel, 2 encased chain drives, a mechanical belt, 3 brass funnels, 3 andesite funnels, 2 radial chassis, 2 mechanical harvesters, 2 portable storage interfaces, a mechanical bearing, a mechanical arm, 4 chests, 4 depots, 19 shafts, 11 cogwheels, 20 fluid tanks. This can vary depending on how much lava you want to be able to store at one time. You're probably going to need more. When I AFK'd with this setup, it was able to fill these up within a matter of like an hour or two, which is hundreds of buckets of lava. Then we need a smart chute, a mechanical pump, a spout, 5 fluid pipes, a mechanical press, 2 basin. We need some dirt. You need about 12 dirt. I have 64 just because I'm not going to be wasting glass like I do in the other episodes. I definitely will, but not as much today because we have dirt so that we can properly place the glass. So you're probably going to want a little bit of extra of whatever block you want to use for maneuvering around things. I'm using dirt though, but really you only need 12. Then we have 4 extra buckets of water for the sugarcane farm, 12 sugarcane for the farm, cinder flour, sugar, and 1 egg will be used for actually setting the filters, a bunch of eggs for getting chickens for a chicken farm. Then we have a blaze cake and a blaze cake base for setting filters, and a slime ball for making the radial chassis sticky. So I'm going to grab all this stuff out. I think we can fit everything from the left side here, because yes, I can in fact now tell my left from my right, because I am a mathematician and an engineer. Obviously, those are the requirements for being able to do that, but I'm going to have to come back because we have basically half an inventory of stuff still sitting here. Unfortunately, with these late game builds, they get super resource intensive, and the quantity of things that you need is just absurd. So before we start setting this up, I have a room made for this, and we have to have a quick discussion. This is the room. Couple things. I know I'm a horrible builder. It has been pointed out to me in this series that I would be way better at YouTube if I was better at building stuff, and I agree. Unfortunately, I cannot plan or make things look nice because when I spend 10 hours off camera designing the Create setup, because Create has so many things you can individually design, well, there's no time left after gathering the resources to actually make stuff look nice. Otherwise, you'd have like 1 video a month, and no one wants that. So I know you guys have been bearing with me with stuff looking awful. I tried to make this look a little bit better in here, a little bit more thematic. I know who picked the color of this wall. What a jerk that guy was, right? It looks like someone got sick on this. But regardless, if you guys think this room looks nice, that's great. You're being really nice to me. If you don't, I totally accept that because even I am kind of skeptical of this room. But I tried a little bit more this time. And over here, if you guys didn't know, this is a nice thematic thing for our rotational power. You can power water wheels with lava. So just a fun thing if you didn't know, there's actually an achievement for doing this called the magma wheel. And I think it looks really cool. You just need to be careful that you're not going to light stuff on fire. So yeah, just be warned. But that's going to be powering our setup for today. And now we are finally good to start, like 10 minutes into the video. I don't even know at this point. Regardless, we're good to go. So to set this up, we need to start out with a basin and a blaze burner and our mechanical mixer. And I figured out where they need to start relative to the rotational power, which is pretty much right here. So we're going to put down our blaze burner right there, basin on top, and then finally mechanical mixer on top of that. And this is really the basis for the whole setup. If we look up lava really quick, we can see that the recipe for it is going to be taking any type of cobblestone and superheating it using a blaze burner with a blaze cake, and you will get out 50 millibuckets of lava. Now, if you guys don't know what superheating is, that makes total sense because basically is not used at all other than for making lava and making, I believe, the chromatic compound, I think is what it is. Yeah. So, and this is pretty much used for nothing other than making the block zappers. So you probably haven't come across this before, but when you use the lava to make the blaze cake and then superheat the blaze burner with it, This allows you to convert any kind of cobblestone or regular cobblestone to lava. Then we're going to take that lava to refill a blaze cake base and make another blaze cake. Unfortunately, the blaze cake base gets consumed in the process, which means we need to then have a setup that makes more blaze cake bases for us. And this is really where the consumption of a lot of stuff comes in. This is the cinder flour, which comes from the netherrack, the sugar, and the eggs. So we're going to start out with getting everything set up to simply make the lava right over here. Then we'll worry about all that other junk that's a little bit more boring. So now that we have the mechanical mixer and basin set up, we're good to go with the middleman part of the process, but we're missing the beginning input where we're going to put the cobblestone in, and we need to do something with the lava. So we're going to start out by putting down the mechanical pump on this side over here on the right of it. And you can see this is correctly pulling out right now. When we eventually input rotational power to this, that might change and we might manually need to switch it. But for the time being, it's okay. We'll just need to come back to it. And then we're going to run fluid pipes coming up here. So we just need to put some dirt down so we can get up here. And we're going to come up right like this, one above the mechanical mixer, and then over one more. And then we can come back down, and we're going to be using our spout and our fluid tanks right here. The spout's going to go off of this corner right here, and then we're going to be putting our fluid tanks right over here. You can build them however you like. If we build them down like this, you can see that they all connect. And then if we were to expand this at the base, you can see that it now connects even more. So we can just build up, and it's nice, and it allows us to mass place these down. So you can see it's putting down 3 at a time, which is super cool. And now we have a massive fluid container that looks really cool too. I love the colors and texture of this. Now the nice thing is this will always stay full of lava, and then the excess will come over here. And that's really important because if we ever run out of blaze cakes being filled, this setup stops working. So that's a huge problem. Now the next thing is we need to make the blaze cakes once we have the blaze cake base, and that's going to come from the spout filling the blaze cake bases right below it. So we're going to put a depot here. This will then squirt the lava onto the blaze cake base right here. And then we need to get it somehow where the blaze cake is going into this blaze burner. And for that, we're not going to use a mechanical arm. We're going to use the deployer, nice and simple, right here. If we want to rotate it properly, you know what? We're probably going to have to pick this up and put it down differently because we need the rotation coming in the side. Let's try right like that. Nice. So there we go. We got the rotational power coming in the side, just like that. And now if we were to give it rotational power, it would act on this blaze burner right here. Now the nice thing is that the deployer will not consume a blaze cake on the blaze burner until this is extinguished. And we want it to the minute this extinguishes. So we don't need to worry about it excessively using them. Obviously that would defeat the purpose of the setup. But now we need to get the items in here, and the simple way we do that is using both a smart chute and a hopper. So we're going to put the hopper going right into this. This has an internal inventory that it'll be able to hold. I think it's like a stack, but then we have the hopper here as an additional buffer, and then we're going to put the smart chute down right here, coming off the depot. This is important. We would have usually used like a funnel or something here, but we can't just use a regular hopper. Otherwise, this will not fill the blaze cake base. It will just pull it out and put it in here. So we need to eventually set this filter to be for blaze cakes so that it only pulls completed ones out. Now that we have this is pretty much good to go. We need to then work on the setup to put the blaze cake bases in here, but that's for another part of the video. Now we need to go and make the inputs coming in for this and start getting the rotational power set up properly. So we're going to pull out like a bunch of glass here. I think we need our mechanical drill, which is already there. And then we're going to eventually be using our water and lava, and then we'll be using cogwheels and such too. But for now, we can put down dirt like this, and we are going to have the cobblestone form right here. We want the mechanical drill mining that right where this dirt is, and then we want to have a hopper right here, putting it into the basin. So it's just going to mine it, it'll drop right down, go straight into the basin, which is great. Now what we need to do to have that form properly in the amount of space that we're working with is, and I guess I should have left dirt there, we are going to be putting glass around this. And I don't think we need a glass over here, but I'm going to put it down here for now so we can set this up. I believe we replace this with a shaft, but we're going to want to have glass there, and I'll waste some here too. I said I wasn't going to waste it, but we're wasting it. And we'll put glass here, and this will help contain some of the water. We'll put some there too, that is going to eventually go right here. Now we need to put that water down, and it's totally fine for it to be right here. This will not affect the mixing process whatsoever, which is great. It allows us to keep it nice and compact. And then we need to come up and put the lava down. So the lava is going to go right above this. So we just need to put glass all on these three sides. And if we were to put the lava down here, and we're not going to fall in it, then we would get this stone forming right here, which would break into cobblestone and come in. So this is a really compact way of getting this set up. And now we need to get a little bit of rotational power coming from these, so we can start hooking these up. We're going to put a cogwheel on the back of this one, a cogwheel over here to connect it, and then we can start using some shafts, and I believe we'll be using a vertical gearbox to get a little bit tricky with how we transfer some of the rotation. So we'll put a vertical one right there, and a cogwheel right there, so that's how we get it up. And then we'll put a shaft down right here. Like I said, I knew the glass would be wasted, but I needed to have this stuff here so I could visualize where we're putting everything. And then we can come out on this side, and I believe we are going to want to use another cogwheel right here. And then we're going to put a cogwheel right here. So there we go. And it wants to break some of our torches. Nice. But we can put the cogwheels just like that. And now we have rotational power coming into our pump right here, which will bring it up so the spout can fill the depot. We've got the rotational power coming to our mechanical drill, and we've got the rotational power going to our mechanical mixer. So pretty much everything we've set up, other than the deployer right here, is currently getting rotational power. And it's really not that hard to get the deployer rotational power along with it. So I used this as a pretty quick opportunity to run back and fill up our inventory with some of the additional stuff that we need, so we can finish expanding upon this part right now. But really, before we do that, we should probably set at least some of these filters. So this one is going to be set to the finished blaze cake right here, and I believe this one is... We don't actually need to worry about setting this one. There's only one recipe, so I guess I was wrong. That was pretty much the only filter we could set. I guess this can be set to blaze cakes if you want, but that's pretty much it. Now we can set our rotational power to come over here, and we're going to do that by having some shafts and some vertical gearboxes. Now we're going to be bringing this over with shafts right here, and we're actually going to bring it up right next to this with a vertical gearbox. Now, it doesn't matter the direction the rotation's going, this is still going to keep acting on the blaze burner. So we're doing this because we then need to bring this up and use another vertical gearbox here to bring the rotational power over. And you can see that everything is now functioning. We have this running at 32 RPM. And if we were to actually put this with the blaze cake to superheat it, then we'd start making lava in here. Now, obviously, we don't want to do that yet. One of the things we need to check on, though, is right here. We need to flip this mechanical pump. Like I said, it was probably going to reverse its direction. And so we could just quickly take care of that. We should probably get rid of this cogwheel, though, really quickly, just to stop this from running, because that's going to be annoying to listen to this entire episode. The next thing we want to do, though, is put down what will make the blaze cake base, which is going to be a basin and a mechanical press. So that's going to need to go all the way up here, and I should probably also have a pile of dirt here to work on. But we're going to be putting it right over here so that it can dump directly onto the depot. You can see the basin has the output right here, and we'll be setting the filter for this eventually to be a blaze cake base. And then we're going to put the mechanical press on top of this. We want to make sure that its rotational power is coming in the side facing the spout, though, because then we are going to bring this rotational power even further up, right up here. And we want to make sure that we then bring it over with a vertical gearbox, just like that. And there we go. So now we got the mechanical press all powered up and ready to go. Whenever we get our components put into this basin right here, we can hop down, get rid of all this dirt, and finally we can set the filter we were talking about using the blaze cake base on this basin right here. So it's only going to make that, and then it will dump it right onto this depot to be filled, to be pulled down, and then fed back into this blaze burner. So the next step for this is going to be getting the crushing wheels set up that need to run and having them drop stuff onto a belt, which will then carry things to the depots. And to do this, we're going to have to unfortunately put up with this cogwheel being here for another second and listening to that annoying sound. But then we're going to put down another cogwheel, and we're going to put down the 2 horizontal gearboxes I discussed earlier. So we're going to pull these out. One is going to go right here, and you can see, oh, it's so nice. It's spinning clockwise, just like we need for the leftmost crushing wheel. And I'm sure you guys know where this is going. We're going to put down another one right here and a shaft in between. And because of the way gearboxes work with the reversed rotation, we're going to have these both inversing each other. And very nicely, 2 crushing wheels, good to go. So these are going to be used for 2 different things. Thankfully, we can kill 2 birds with 1 stone. If we take a look at the blaze cake base right here, we can see the recipe needs eggs, which are very simple. They do not need to get crushed. You absolutely do not want to crush eggs, both in-game or in real life, unless you're making omelets. But in that case, you definitely don't want it to be as aggressive as the crushing wheels. Otherwise, you're going to get some extra, I don't even know what you would call the eggshell, some extra calcium, I don't know. It's not fiber. Whatever the eggshell's made of in your diet, but we don't want that here. We want a full egg, but we need the cinder flour and the sugar. Now, sugar can be made using a millstone, and we're going to get the same outputs as if we put it through the crushing wheel, so there's really not much of a point. But we need to make cinder flour, and the only way to do that is by putting netherrack into the crushing wheels. So this allows us to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. They're running at 32 RPM, so they do require a fair bit of stress capacity, but regardless, it's going to save us a little bit of space, and so we're going to put both of those in through the top and have them fall down. And so for now, we're going to deal with the items falling down. But again, we're going to get rid of this cogwheel right here because I don't want to listen to that noise anymore now that we have this all going. So to set this up, we're going to take our belts and we're going to set up a shaft that goes back here. And I believe we want the chicken farm to be right here. So we should be totally fine with setting the belts up right here too. And then we're going to want to run it out. And we're probably going to want to have a depot right here, and right here, meaning that we can finish off the belt here. And so we're probably going to have to adjust this potentially a little bit, but it really doesn't matter that much, just because if you make it a little bit longer or shorter, that's totally fine, as long as you have room. Now over here, we are going to be setting up a very similar thing to what we did on the cake farm or generator, and we're going to be putting some chests right up here. Oh, I can't place them properly. We're going to put them up here though, and we're going to want to make sure that they are all individual. So we're going to shift place them down, and these are going to store the 3 different ingredients just as a little bit of a buffer because we only want to have these coming out one at a time. And then we're going to put brass funnels on the back side of these. So just like this. And we're going to have to make sure that we rotate each of these so that they are picking items up from here into the chest instead of going back down. Always pay attention to the arrow on the side. Huge mistake that I used to make before too, and I didn't understand what was going wrong. Now that we have these, we need to have them outputting onto depots. So those are going to go right here. And then we're going to take out our andesite funnels and put them right like this. These have no filter. They should automatically, well, looks like they weren't because of how I placed them down. But there we go. Now we need to also make sure these are coming down. I think because I shift placed them on the chest, they were going up, but now they're putting out onto the depot. So if we were to come in here and put sugar down, it would pull it out onto the depot. And that's exactly what we want. Now we need to come over and set these filters. It doesn't really matter which gets set to which, but we're going to want to put sugar, cinder flour, and eggs for these. And once we have those, then we need to make sure that we are placing them into this basin. And to do that, we're going to use the mechanical arm. Now we're going to take our rotational power from right over here. So we probably want to get that set up first, just because that's going to sort of dictate where the mechanical arm is going to go. So we're going to take out a cogwheel, well, 2 cogwheels actually, put one down right there, one down right there. And then we're going to use some shafts to come along the bottom here, like so. We're definitely going to want to put an andesite casing on this because it looks really gross. I don't like being able to see down there. And then we're going to put a vertical gearbox right here, another cogwheel, and the mechanical arm will go right here in range of all of these. And what we need to do is right click so it's blue on these 3 depots, and then right click so it's orange on the basin, and it will move items from these depots to the basin, which is great. That's exactly what we want. And we want to make sure that these are all going into these chests and then the depots first, because we do not want to back up on this belt right here where we have way too many of one item in the basin It can't take any more sugar, and then it needs to get eggs or something, and those can't get in there because they can't go all the way through the belt system because it stalls out. That's a huge issue people will run into that they don't really account for. Not every farm in your setup is going to run at the same rate. So you need to make sure that there's not going to be a backup that stops your belt system from running and backs up the whole system, because it will never unclog itself unless you manually do it. So now we got these belts running here, and this part is the worst part, or it's at least the part I'm the worst at. But it's going to be making the chicken farm, which are the egg farm, which is really technically the easiest part of this, but I'm not going to screw it up like I did last time. So we're going to put down glass around here, and we're going to make sure that the chickens do not die and do not get kicked out of here. So we're going to come up, and I'm going to build this up a few blocks. We'll make sure we grab the dirt out of there, don't worry. We're going to build that up a few blocks, though, so we can chuck eggs and get the chickens to actually properly go in here and not screw up like last time. So we're going to throw them nice and slow. I'd like at least a few chickens. I'm definitely going to need more eggs, but okay, we're really going to need more eggs. Okay, no problem. We still got some left. I shut off the cake farm so that I could get these eggs from the chicken farm over there. Okay, this is just tragic. Okay, we got one. Can we get another? This is the worst. What are the chances? Okay, another. Not bad. I'd love 4. Okay, okay. Okay, dude, come on. Go down. What a jerk. What a jerk. Let's see if we can get one here. Not stuck in the corner. Okay, well, I should probably keep one of these if we need to set another filter. But 3 should suffice. It's not going to produce us much. Okay, we'll save one of these. We got 3. We need to grab back the egg or the dirt that's currently on here so the eggs can go through. Can we like bump this dude back? Why is he stuck up there? Hopefully he goes down, because I would like to close this off. I assume he's actually stuck though. Okay, well, regardless, we now have these. When they grow up, they will lay eggs that will then get carried across here, which is exactly what we want. And now the only thing we really need to worry about is the sugarcane farm. Okay, so I took the opportunity to quickly run back over to our chests, grab out the remaining water buckets, which were pretty much the only things left in there, and then we have those to set up the sugarcane farm, which is really the only large portion of this setup we still have to do. There are a few miscellaneous things, like hooking up a belt on top of here that'll carry everything into the crushing wheels, and also getting power to this one down here, but other than that, we should be pretty much good to go. So we can start out by just setting up the sugarcane farm itself, and we want to come off of this cogwheel right here with a second regular cogwheel, then a large cogwheel, and then a regular cogwheel again. Now this one right here is just quickly going to connect back with a shaft to this mechanical belt system back here. So we bring it over one more simply because we want to make it easier to get rotational power down here and free up a little bit of room right back here to set up the mechanical harvester sugarcane farm. Now we're going to be going with pretty much the exact same setup that we used before with this, a relatively small one, and we're going to be setting it up using a mechanical bearing. We're using this large cogwheel just because we're able to run this at a slightly slower speed and it doesn't really matter. So we're going to come out with 2 shafts, and then we're going to go up with a, where is it in here? We should have an additional vertical gearbox in here, but it looks like I actually forgot one. And would you look at that, with the magic of editing, I actually didn't forget it. But really, apparently every episode I'm going to forget like one shaft or one gearbox, just one small detail that we need. And it's going to come up right at the end of the episode that I totally forgot it. So unfortunately, I did miss that one, but here we have it, one more vertical gearbox, and then we are going to be building up around here to put down our mechanical bearing. So we're just going to slap that down up here, and then this one will eventually, if we get stuff attached to it, it should be spinning. Well, actually, we want to see what direction it'll be spinning in, just so that we know which sides to attach the mechanical harvesters on. So if we were to throw this down and right-click on this, we can see the direction it's going to spin in. So it's going to be going this direction, which means that we want to make sure our mechanical harvesters are facing towards us if we were to place them on this side right here. So we'll grab out our slime ball. We want the dirt so we can properly align these. And then the chest and the portable storage interface will be going on the other side. So we'll put a slime ball down here, build off the wall just so that we have something to put down the harvesters on. Then we can get these back. So these should both be good. We can drag this down to 2 just so it doesn't attach onto anything else unnecessarily. And then over here, we can attach on the other side. Oh, you know what? I am totally spacing out. This needs to be on the second one up. Whoops, that's my mistake, guys. I totally spaced. We need to not set this up like a normal farm. There's a reason we have 2 radial chassis here. We need to go 1 and then 2. So this needs to get set up right up here. I bet you guys were cringing at that right there. There we go. Now we can reduce this one down to 2. Okay, where were we? Now we're back on track to set up on this side over here, the chest and the portable storage interface, which will be really nice and easy. We just click that down, and we need to orient this one properly. So let's see if we can get out here and toss it down like that. So there we go. Once this starts spinning, it'll be going in that direction. As long as these are actually rotating, when it spins, that means they're going in the correct direction. If you take it the opposite way, these will not spin. And so once this is here, we can find that building off right here is where the second one should go, and we can just flip it. They need to be 1 block apart to deposit into each other. So right there is perfect. And then we are going to use this with a hopper to deposit onto a belt system. So over here, we're going to grab out our shaft and a belt, and we can just come down like this, put a belt or the shaft right here. And then the next one is going to go right up, not above this, but 1 over. And then we can get our dirt back right there, and then connect these 2 just like that, and put a hopper down right on the bottom of this so it can deposit items into this belt system. Now, this will be totally good to go once we have the sugarcane set up here. Another really easy task to do. All we got to do is come around here, and we're going to be using the same corner block method we did before. So just like, whoops, nope, can't place things down. Just like this right here, another one right there, and finally one right there. That's where the water will be going, and then we can have on all these sides the dirt for the actual sugarcane. And I should probably just put down dirt in the middle here and then get rid of it, so all that work was kind of for nothing, because we do need to place it down on all the 4 sides of this. So we can now come up here, and I'm going to use my hand for this, because if I use a shovel, I'm going to absolutely destroy this whole dirt setup. But let's see if we can get to this one right here. So there we go. Now we just need to put down some water and put down our sugarcane, and this will be pretty much good to go. It's going to take a little bit for it to grow, so I don't think we'll get to see it working on camera right now, but we've done this one multiple times before, so it's nothing fancy. Just get these thrown down, and then we can clean up the disgusting bottom of this, as if the room didn't look bad enough already. We have this disgusting looking farm here. But here we go. Let's get rid of the bottom here. We can probably put some of the bricks around this to make it look a little bit cleaner later on. And we don't need that right there. So this is the very simple sugarcane farm. We can just get in here and, oh, I guess we got to get rid of one of these to right click on it. Or can we get, no, you know what? Oh, yeah, I guess we have to. Or we can just go back up maybe and get access to it. But we do need to click on the bearing again. So let's get it going. Oh. Okay, yeah, it stopped because it was connecting to the portable storage interface. I was like, why did it go for a second and then stop? Then we just got to come back up, put down our sugarcane while it's not in the way. And there we go. So now it should be running. It's still going relatively fast, which is great. There will never be one that has any chance to grow to 3 high. And now we have one part left, which is the manual input for the netherrack. And so we're going to put a hopper anywhere on this belt. Putting into it right here is a totally fine option. Again, it doesn't really matter where you do it. You just don't want it to be right here, because this is how we get rotational power to this setup. So we're going to put in a case chain drive there and there. This will be rotating this way clockwise, so this belt will be going the correct direction too. So then all we got to do is grab out our cogwheel, and if we were to put that down right here, the system would be good to go. So if we throw this down, everything starts going in here and getting rotational power. So it should pretty much be all set. Obviously, we're going to have to wait on a lot of this stuff because it needs time to process and gather things like the sugarcane, and we also need to manually input netherrack. So I went and grabbed some netherrack and put it in the setup so it can start processing. That's, again, the only input we actually need to do other than just sitting around and waiting for the rest of this to start producing the sugar and the eggs. I also put a piece of glass right up here on the right crushing wheel just because you need it to make sure that the netherrack falls into the crushing wheels properly. So just make sure you have that, otherwise it's going to sit right on top of that bad boy and not actually get crushed. But you also have the option of putting a chest above this hopper here. I'm not doing that because I'm never going to put more than 5 stacks of netherrack in there to process at once. Obviously, it's going to be more than enough to get us an entire filled 20 individual fluid tank container. So I don't see a huge reason to put more in, but you can see that it's coming down here. The cinder flour is getting picked up, put into this basin. We've got the cobblestone filling up this setup right here. And it seems like it's probably about time to get this making some lava. So the way you want to jumpstart this is by using a blaze cake and putting it into this hopper right here. So we put it in, it's going to superheat that. We're going to start getting some lava out. We obviously have this mechanical pump properly pulling lava out down here. And there we go. We got the mixing it up advancement. And you will see that soon we're going to get some lava in here, 150 millibuckets, which means it's processed 3 so far. And then once this fills up, eventually it'll start going in here. Now, if we want to see the other part of the process, we can quickly just dump some sugar and some eggs onto this platform right here. And it'll now pick these up and put them in. And we'll get to watch this basin smash it down, produce the blaze cake bases, and then fill them up right in here with the lava. Then they pop down, and whenever this stops being superheated, it's got another one on deck ready to go to make more. So you can see right there, or you could hear right there, that it was ready to go. So really now the only thing we're waiting on is getting a few more chickens in here. Admittedly, I need a couple more, but these guys will lay eggs, and then we need the sugarcane to grow. I found that an appropriate amount of chickens in a test world is probably about 5 to 10, and you should never run into an issue. I'd say about 7 will be able to keep up pretty well with a sugarcane farm, and then it just depends on how much netherrack you put in. Obviously, this is almost done processing, and it will just sit in this chest right here and wait for you to put in the rest of the resources. And now you can see that this is filled up completely. We've got it processed a fair bit, and now it is starting to dump any of the excess into this fluid tank right here. These are a little bit buggy when you look at the capacity of the fluid container, as you can see. This one right here looks like it appropriately joins all of them together and says 300 millibuckets out of 160,000. But if we look over here, it says that there's nothing in there and it's got 8,000 millibuckets. So obviously that's not true. These are all 1. So I don't know why that happens. Probably just a little oversight or bug that happens with the multi-block generation. But all in all, I think this setup is awesome. I love it. And it was a longer video today, but I also think it was a lot simpler than some of the other ones recently. I also tried to make this a little bit more similar, like I mentioned earlier in the video, to some of the older Surviving With series, where you guys wanted it to be a mix between a Let's Play and a guide, not just a straight up guide where all I do is cut to the point and that's it. I know some people won't be happy with that, but a lot of you guys were asking for it, so let me know if you enjoy this format more, or if you prefer the more technical to the point version of my videos. I don't mind either way, it's totally up to you guys. But yeah, so that's why there was more rambling and it was a bit longer. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to like and subscribe and watch all the future videos that'll be coming out soon for this series with even more complicated builds, and I will talk to you later.